with diabetes drugs. How about that? Radiation for breast cancer can harm hearts. How about that? A grieving husband in Great Britain is pushing a bill for unproven treatments after the cancer death of his wife. He wants there to be alternative cancer treatments. Thank God for that. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but this is how bad it's getting, ladies and gentlemen. It is getting bad, bad, bad. Bad dog, no biscuit. And here to help me underline it for you and put an exclamation point, wrap it up and put a bow on it, is our Thursday contributor, the Commander, a.k.a. Mark Denning. You've seen him all over Facebook with the Wellness Warriors. Welcome aboard, Mr. Denning.
Dr. Glidden, how are you today?
I am surviving and I am thriving. What's on your mind today, Commander? What would you like to talk about?
Well, a couple of things. You know, we had the Clemson report with the Ultimate Classic and the BTT. I just wanted to give you a little heads up as I was floating through the web about the fucoid that we have in our Fucoid Z product. And there were some studies in Japan showed a definite reduction, if not total disappearance of cancer cells in the cancer patients that took fucoid, right? So the following were the results. Cancer of the pharynx, or your mouth area, is 81%. Pancreatic cancer, 48%. Uterine carcinoma, 72%. Cancer of the tongue, 83%. Colon cancer, 80%. Esophageal cancer, 84%. Primary lung cancer, 86%. Stomach, 84%. Breast, 78%. Bladder tumor, 72%. Ovarian cancer, 58%. Prostatic cancer, 73%. Lung cancer, small cell carcinoma, 79%. Lung cancer, adenocarcinoma, 75%. And leukemia, 84%. So pop this together with your BTT and your Ultimate Classic, and bam, you kicked the heavy bag of healthcare right out the window.
So that's those percentages were what? Was it?
They did a study in the Cancer Center in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a 75% elimination of the cancer, or what?
Yeah,
was
there was either a significant reduction, if not total disappearance of cancer cells.
Imagine that. And that's just with fucoidin, which is an extract of a sea vegetable, which is in Youngevity. Youngevity has two products that's in. One is Fucoid Z, Fucoid-Z, and, of course, Z-Radical, one of my all-time favorites, Z-Radical, one of my new-time favorites, because that's a relatively new product with Youngevity. Yeah, I've heard anecdotal reports of cancer survivors just doing the Z-Radical. Of course, we don't treat cancer here. That's against the law. We're not even intimating that we're treating cancer. But what I'm telling you is that I have people come up to me and told me that their cancer was disappeared with holistic nutrition. And, you know, this, of course, begs the question, why isn't the Food and Drug Administration pouring millions of dollars of money into research of this nature? Because it doesn't profit them to do it, because you cannot patent a naturally occurring substance, and because the Food and Drug Administration isn't involved with or really concerned with helping people to get healthy. They're concerned with helping the pharmaceutical companies to stay in existence and get as much control and money as they possibly can. The Food and Drug Administration is no longer regulatory. It is a complete prop for the pharmaceutical industry. And on tomorrow's show, Commander, Jonathan Emord is going to be back talking to us about that and a whole lot more. Now, here's some news I just pulled off of the web. Radiation for breast cancer can harm hearts. Imagine that.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Hey, somebody called me yesterday from Wisconsin, and it was on my heart to talk about this today, is how, when people get sick in the hospital now, they're giving patients like multivitamins and zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D. Yesterday I took a patient for an appointment, and I saw, giving them vitamin D is like 1,000 IUs a day. I'm like, I looked at the nurse practitioner and said, are you guys like spitting in the wind or something? This guy lives inside all the time. He's got heart problems, he's got high blood pressure, things like that. You know, he gets cold. I said, "Do you guys like spitting in the wind?"
And what did they say? And what was her retort?
She gave me the one eye, dude. She gave me the one eye. Like, Who are you?
Yeah, see, they don't know what they don't know. And really, this is, in a perfect world, medical doctors would stick to drugs and surgery. Chiropractors would stick to the manipulation of the spine. The herbalists would stick to herbs. And naturopaths would stick to the therapeutics that they're trained in. But MDs, because of their training and because of the social hubris that they have generated over 100 years of medical market monopolization, think that they can do whatever and that they're the lords of the domain and whatever they say goes. And so, yeah, let's throw some vitamins at them even though they have no earthly idea of what they're doing. So how's it going in back of the ambulance lately? What are you seeing?
Again, you know, strokes in young people, 30s, 40s. I took a lady yesterday that was my age, and I was like, whoa. I couldn't even name all the problems she had by the time we ended my segment. So we're going to let it go. But you know what? You know, the doctors are trying to, I guess, I don't know if the word palliate is appropriate for that when they start giving vitamins and stuff like that and fractionate nutrition, which they're really good at. And people that don't get good advice from guys like you. And, you know, but we do know that medications do deplete nutrients, right?
Well, yeah, that's how they work.
Well, yeah. So I just thought we'd take a look at a couple of them today. You know, one of the big hitters for hypertension is lisinopril. And that one knocks the zinc out of the park, out of your body. So, you know, over time, you may lose your appetite, have lost appetite, sense of taste, growth retardation, skin changes, and get infected more, right?
Well, it's an interesting thing to talk about, right? So let's talk about this a little bit more. So when you take a drug into your body, a pharmaceutical substance, the drug induces a metabolic physiological reaction, not through pixie dust, right? Not through genie in a bottle magic. The drug induces its change through stimulating, turning on, turning off, manipulating biochemical pathways in the human body, all of which use vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids to work because that's what your biochemistry is made out of. So every time you take a drug, depending on what the drug is, depending on what the dose is, depending on how frequently you take it, but every time you take it, you're burning through vitamins and minerals and nutrients just because that's how drugs work. They use that stuff up. You know, fire uses up wood. Fire uses up oxygen. Drugs use up vitamins, and lisinopril, which is a big blood pressure medication, burns right through zinc stores, zinc, of course, being one of the 60 essential minerals that the human body needs. Now, you would think, in a perfect world, right, the pharmaceutical companies would add zinc to the lisinopril. Why do you think they don't do that?
Cha-ching. Oh, sorry. Did I say that word?
You did. You know, it's a combination of that and just
job security.
Yeah, they don't know what they don't know, and they don't really care, because from their point of view, medical nutrition is an afterthought. It's secondary or tertiary. It's juvenile. It's really got nothing to do with anything, and this is a gigantic oversight on their part. They've completely thrown the baby out with the bathwater, and because of their incompetence, because of their juvenile, one-sided, dogmatic understanding of basic physiobiochemistry, and there's a new word for your physiobiochemistry, they're hurting us, you know, and you don't have to believe me, just look at the facts. The leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. All right, besides lisinopril, what else you got up your sleeve?
How about Motrin?
How about it?
How about ibuprofen? How about those NSAIDs? Oh, I got a owie, you know, I pulled something, or that, you know. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as getting in a tub with Epsom salt and it's good to go. But let's see, ibuprofen, Motrin, naproxen, Lodine, Dolabid, those are all in the same group. Non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory drugs. They deplete your iron, okay? So, one of the big side effects with medicines, and as a nurse, it's really tough to keep up on them sometimes. The first two, if they're not treating it, is nausea, vomiting, and, GI problems. So, but with the NSAIDs, we see people that have bleeding. But that's not a lot of time. But your doctor never tells you when to stop sometimes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, now here's another interesting little fun fact to know and tell. In order for your blood to clot properly, in order for the clotting cascade to work, the biochemical clotting cascade in the body, that's a set of domino-like biochemical reactions that each have to happen one after the next in order for your blood to clot, when you get a cut or whatever, you need calcium. If you don't have enough calcium, your blood's not going to clot appropriately, and so, if you're taking the NSAIDs and they induce bleeding in the gut and you have a calcium deficiency, your blood pressure is going to sink. You're going to be bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. For goodness sake, that's not a good thing, and yet around and around the merry-go-round we go.
It's funny thing you mentioned that, too. Funny thing you mentioned that, because Happy DVT Awareness Month, Dr. Glidden.
Run that by me one more time. It's what?
It's it's DVT Awareness Month.
DVT?
Deep Vein Thrombosis Awareness Month.
Oh, Deep Vein Thrombosis Awareness Month. What, this month right now, the month of March?
The month of March, and I am a member of the DVT Club. Well, a former member, anyway.
Yeah, well, you got to beware the Ides of March. Hey, we're coming up against the hard break. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking to the commander today. He's all over Facebook. Check it out at Wellness Warriors. That's Warriors with a Z. Wellness Warriors on Facebook. Check it out. It with the commander today on Thursday afternoon. So look, I just want to read you this, commander. Here, check this out, right? Here's what this study says. This is about the radiation and breast cancer, right? Women treated with radiation for breast cancer are more likely to develop heart problems later on, even with the lower doses used today. The study reveals that the potential harm from radiation runs deeper than any medical expert has realized, especially for women who already have cardiac risk factors such as diabetes. Now, here's the real kicker. Some chemotherapy drugs are known to harm the heart muscle, but the new study shows that radiation can hurt arteries, making them prone to harden and clog and cause a heart attack. Well, wait a minute. I thought it was cholesterol that did that.
Yeah.
On the one hand, they're telling us cholesterol is the big bugaboo, but now they're telling us that inflammation from radiation causes arteries to clog. Well, I've got news for you. Dr. Wallach in 1976 published an article that proved that there was no relationship between cholesterol and the hardening of arteries, cholesterol deposition in the arteries. It was all due to inflammation, homocysteine, and other inflammatory catalysts inside the body. But, medicine progresses one funeral at a time, and so do you think that they're going to start giving less radiation to women with breast cancer? No, because it's a gigantic moneymaker. And what are we going to do about it? Well, I tell you what we're going to do about it. We're going to get people so healthy that instead of raising millions of dollars for new research, instead of generating political campaigns where we're marching in front of the State House, what we're going to do is silently in the background encourage people to just stop using the system, to abandon the system with longevity. Get on board with longevity. Get on board with Dr. Wallach's health recovery protocols, and the same thing can happen to you that happened to the commander. So tell us again about your experience with deep vein thrombosis.
About, 7 years ago now, I noticed my leg getting really swollen. I went to the hospital because that's all I knew. And they told me I had 2 blood clots in my leg. I said, okay. But then again, now if you have any clots in your leg, they send you for a CAT scan. More radiation, hooah. And then they found 9 blood clots in my lung at one time. So got on that ultimate blood thinner, Coumadin, that one that depletes nutrients.
Yeah, and that kills rats.
Kills rats. Yeah, it's the rat killer. And learned about an incident that it might recur in 3% of people with what I had, so I stopped it. And a couple of years later, I didn't reduce the risk factors because my doctor didn't teach me how to do that. One came back, put my heart into atrial fibrillation, which means it wasn't beating effectively. And I ended up in the ICU for a couple of days. And I asked God what he needed me to do and what was next. Little did I know I would meet Dr. Glidden a short time later. And Dr. Wallach, and life is good. So,
yes. So you started applying medical nutrition. You took some supplements. You changed your diet. And how long did it take for the deep vein thrombosis to disappear?
Well, they never came back. They never came back. You told me you absolutely have to have this in the longevity product line, and if you can take this, take this. So I worked hard to get enough people in my downline to be able to afford what I afford. And surprisingly, Dr. Glidden, I know you know this, fucoidan is an awesome blood thinner as well. Keeps you free-flowing.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? All this stuff from the plant world, all of this stuff from the natural world works 1,000 times better for supporting and promoting tissue and the health of the body than pharmaceuticals could even come close to. And there's no side effects. There's no complications because the natural stuff works with the body. Why? Because the human body, in the final analysis, is an animal. It's a product of the earth, as is plants. So there's a very nice symbiotic relationship between plant medicine, naturally occurring minerals, vitamins, essential fatty acids, amino acids, botanical medicines, and the human body. And this is our whole message, ladies and gentlemen. Give the body what it needs to fix itself. Stop eating crap that's coming up to work. Please get out of the way, and your body will fix itself most of the time. 866-582-9933. Give me a call. We're going to be talking to the commander for about 5 more minutes. Check it out. Talking to the commander right now, Mark Denning. Check him out, Wellness Warriors, on Facebook. Now, Mark, tonight I'm giving a webinar on kidney health, right? How to support and promote healthy kidney function. How many dialysis patients do you take to the hospital every week, would you say?
1,000.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
And kids. I think Glidden, kids.
What do you mean kids? How old?
Young. They got areas in the dialysis center with nice stickers and painted things on the wall and stuff. I go, what's that area for? They go, that's for the kids. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow. It's getting worse and worse. Kidney disease getting worse and worse. Now, it may interest the listening audience. No, by the way, welcome to the Alex Jones listeners. If you found us through Alex Jones, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everything that you do. Thanks for supporting Alex's cause and our cause, and I appreciate the listenership. So, from our point of view, Dr. Wallach, after doing 26,000 autopsies, started to get a clue, and what he observed is that the vast majority of the time, when people have kidney pathology, the kidney themselves is perfectly fine. The problem is the blood flow coming into the kidney gets all jammed up, and the blood flow inside the kidney gets all jammed up. It's the same process that causes your arteries in your heart to clog, causes the arteries in your kidney to clog. And when the arteries in the kidney get clogged, all kinds of negative metabolic reactions occur. So what do? Well, in a nutshell, we support and promote the healthy kidney function with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Attempt to make this kidney so healthy that you can stop taking dialysis, and we've been successful with this strategy hundreds of times. It's a remarkable thing, but in the wonderful world of modern-day Machiavellian MD-directed medicine, nobody knows what we know, and it's all about drugs and surgery all of the time. And the dialysis clinics are getting, more profitable and more profitable and more profitable every year. and we get sicker and sicker and sicker. I don't know how you do it in the back of the ambulance as much as you do. I think I could do that job for about 4 weeks.
All right. You've made it longer than some.
I mean, all you see all day long is the complete failure of conventional medicine. I mean, how do you handle that? What do you have, a separate box in your mind that you put that stuff? How do you handle that?
I channel it into the fact that if that person came to me, what would I do for them? And I go with that positive. So, and you and Dr. Wallach has given me that, and I'm very grateful for that every day.
Now, you've been in the back of the ambulance for how many years here now in the U.S. as a private, not in the military? 11 years. And from your point of view, what's the status quo of our health? Have things flatlined? Are things getting better? Or are things getting worse? Or what's it like?
Well, as our team last year, we just got the fiscal report. Like I said, before we did about 200 calls a month. When I started out there, and then last year we did 12,000 calls as a team, just as a critical care transport team, not as a whole company. As a whole company, we're up to 90,000 calls this year already. So. And
when you started, it was 200 a month, and now it's 12,000 a month?
Well, 12,000 a year, so it's gone up to about 1,000 a month. Just on my team. Just my division. That's not even the whole, the basic stuff, the advanced life support. We do the critical care stuff.
Wow.
Where people need complex therapies and complex treatments. I take people on heart-lung bypass in the ambulance, and that scares the bejeebers out of a lot of people. I'm like, but if he needs to go somewhere that if they can help him better right now, let's do it. And hopefully they'll realize, and got to pray for him. Got to pray for him.
So when you started, how many was 11 years ago? How many? 11 did you say?
Yeah, about 11.
All right, so you started 11 years ago. You were transporting 200 people a month. Now you're transporting 1,000 people a month?
Yeah, just as a division, yeah.
And that's just in Chicagoland. I mean, that's crazy, man. And people wonder why we have such a breakdown in the delivery, why the major economic stress to the United States economy is healthcare costs, because everybody's getting sicker while we've gone to the MDs.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Schweitzer said something really cool.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with a thought. He says, as I see it, every day you do one of two things. One, you build health or produce disease in yourself. So let us give you those, and that's what he said. So you're either going to build health or produce disease in yourself. So get your 90, get a good nutrition protocol, like from prior your MD now, and, give up those, try to get rid of the medicines as soon as possible, because if you've been on chronic medicines for a long time, you don't know how depleted you've been.
You're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, ladies and gentlemen. Commander, thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable. Thank you so much. I look forward to the time that you spend with us every week. Check him out on Wellness Warriors with a Z on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much, Mark. I look forward to talking to you next time.
Amen. Talk to you next time, buddy.
Very good. 866-582-9933 is the number to call to speak with me live. That's 866-582-9933. If you're listening to the podcast, that number, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. That's also the same number to call if you've heard about what we're talking about the health opportunity or the wealth opportunity, and you'd like to talk to a living, breathing human being. That's the number. 855-347-3696. Tomorrow on Fire Your MD Now, the famous constitutional lawyer Jonathan E. Mord, who sued the Food and Drug Administration 12 times, I believe, has been successful 8 times. He's going to be on the show. In the first segment, we're going to be talking about testimonials and what you can and cannot say and why. And the stuff that Jonathan E. Mord will have to tell you will blow your mind. He was on Alex Jones with me a couple of days ago, and he said some stuff that, even I didn't know about the unbelievable draconian measures around testimonials for nutritional supplements and healthcare, and just healthcare in general, what the FDA allows you to say and not say, Whatever happened to freedom of speech? That's what I'd like to know. That's tomorrow's show. You're not going to want to miss it, ladies and gentlemen. If you are politically active, even if you're not politically active, if you're a devotee of holistic medicine, if you love the holistic approach, if you are into the alternative therapeutics that we espouse here, and remember, not alternative to me, alternative the MD therapeutics, then you're not going to want to miss tomorrow's show in the first segment with Jonathan Emord. Talk about not knowing what you don't know. Man, you better, my advice, if you're tuning into tomorrow's show, get a heavy weight and put it on top of your head at the beginning of the segment, just to prevent your head from exploding off of your body when you listen to what Jonathan Emord has to say. That's tomorrow in the first segment, 3 o'clock Central Time, right here on Fire Your MD Now on the Genesis Communication Network. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's tonight at 8 o'clock Central Time, my webinar, my health webinar, my weekly health webinar. Tonight, it's on kidney health. Everything your medical doctor forgot to tell you or didn't know how to tell you or what to tell you regarding your kidney, its health, and the disease process, and what you can do with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition to support and promote the health, structure, and function of your kidneys. That's tonight at 8 o'clock Central. Available through subscription only. In order to watch this webinar, you have to be a subscription holder. In order to get a subscription holder, just go to fireyourmdnow.com. That's fireyourmdnow.com, and click on the little subscription box. Health Recovery, online health recovery program. It's in the front tab. It's in the tab right on the front page. $17 a month. And you are in like Flynn. By the way, $17 a month gives you access not only to the live health webinar, but I also do 2 live chat sessions a week where you're online and I'm online with about 80 other people, and everybody types in a little question, and we have a nice little banter, a nice little back and forth, bringing people up to speed with what they can do to support and promote the structure and function of their bodies in the face of this diagnosis or that diagnosis, or what do you think about aspartame, Dr. Glidden, or this, that, or the other thing. It's a lively, rollicking conversation. And every Monday night, we have an Introduction to Longevity webinar, and I have over 20 subjects in my archived library about health conditions. Oh, you know, the holistic perspective on asthma, the holistic perspective on type 2 diabetes, the holistic perspective on arthritis, good food, bad food. Tons of information that's archived. You can watch 24/7 as a subscriber. It will be, I can honestly say, the best $17 you will ever spend in your life. Check it out. Right there on the homepage at fireyourmdnow.com. One more thing I'd like to pull up here off of the web before we get into the next segment here. Grieving husband pushes a bill for unproven remedies. After the best-selling Irish novelist Josephine Hart died from ovarian cancer in 2011, her husband was so devastated he often went to her grave to have breakfast. And even now, Lord Maurice Secchi describes his wife's cancer treatment as medieval. I can support that because the same thing happened to my mother, whose death, ironically, was 10 years ago today. 10 years ago today. May God rest her soul. This guy's a member of Parliament, however, and he's proposing a bill that would allow doctors to use experimental therapies even if there is no proof of how they work. Well, you know, good and bad, right? Because he's kind of missed the boat, too. Again, this is the blinder. These are the blinders that everybody in the free world has on. Everybody in the world has on. Everybody believes that MDs own medicine, and they don't. That's an incorrect supposition. MDs are trained in one very small piece of the medical pie. It's called reductionistic allopathic medicine, but they have sold it to you so well for the last 100 years that you think medicine equals what MDs do, and it doesn't. The medical philosophy that MDs derive all of their therapeutics from is outdated, old-fashioned, archaic, juvenile, and dangerous, which is why their treatments are the leading cause of death in the United States. They have an old-fashioned, outdated perspective on how the body works. It's referred to as reductionism. When you perceive the body through a reductionistic lens, your treatments must fail. The only thing reductionism is good for is bullets in the arm, third-degree burns, trauma to the body. That's the epitome of reductionism. When you bring reductionistic mindset to bear on chronic disease, you will miss the boat 100% of the time. You know, you don't need to approve experimental therapies. You need to let alternative doctors, you need to let the naturopaths and the homeopaths and the acupuncturists and the herbalists take a whack at it. That's what you need to do. You need to kick the MDs off the bus, delegate them to the emergency room only, and let the other guys have a go at it because the MDs have screwed it up. I mean, what's it going to take? The economy has to collapse? Everybody in the world has to get cancer before we take our heads out of the sand? For goodness sake, ladies and gentlemen, fire your MD. Fire your MD now. And tune into this show. Let us drag you into the light of medical nutrition. Talking about all things holistic all the time. We're going to go right to Oregon now and talk to Bob. Bob's got a foot problem. Hey, Bob, thanks for the call.
Hey, thanks. I didn't think I'd get in this fast.
There you go. Today's a slow day for some reason.
Yeah, I've got my right foot. About 2 years ago, I noticed it felt like I was kind of walking on a dowel.
Yeah.
And so now it's just getting worse and worse.
Has anybody, x-rayed it or poked around or tried to diagnose it?
No, I haven't gone at all. I thought, it'll go away, but it just seems like the dowel's getting bigger.
Yeah. All right. So how tall are you, Bob, and how much do you weigh?
5'10", about 195.
Okay. All right, good. So if you x-rayed your foot, the bones of your foot, for between your ankle bone and your toes, there are, I forget how many, like 12 or 13 little bones in there, and they all fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And just like every other joint in your body, that place, the interface between two bones, there's cartilage. There's tons of cartilage between the little bones of your foot. And it's almost exactly like a jigsaw puzzle. And there's cartilage, but at the end of all of the bones that keeps the cushion nice and cushy. When your foot bones, when your skeleton runs out of essential nutrients, different joints and cartilage and bones in different parts of the body start to get broken down because of normal wear and tear. Some people it's their elbows, some people it's their feet, some people it's their knees, some people it's their shoulders, and God only knows why. But when this gets really bad, the condition, my father had this really bad. The condition is called Charcot's foot. You spell that, it's a French word. C-H-A-R-C-O-T like Thomas, apostrophe S. I mean, my father's Charcot's foot was so bad, there were bones were sticking out all over the place. I mean, he looked like the Elephant Man. But he wouldn't listen to me, right? He wouldn't take I don't want to take those vitamins, Peter, right? And God rest his soul. He died a couple of years ago. That's the older generation for you, with the exception of Dr. Wallach. So, in any event, right, what we do here, Bob, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, if your tire was going flat, you want to pull the nail out and plug the leak and then put air in the tire. Well, I mean, if you're running out of oil, you want to, find the oil leak if there is one, plug it, and put new oil in the engine, and life is good. Well, when the bones of your feet start to go south, all you have to do is stop eating food that's pro-inflammatory and that's robbing foot bone nutrients, and there are 10 foods that do that, and you have to just give your body the stuff it needs to have healthy bones and joints. That's all you have to do, just like putting oil back in the car. So my recommendation for you, at 195 pounds, as a trial for 90 days, we always have people give our stuff a go for 90 days, look to see what happens in 90 days. Most people feel something noticeable and measurable within 2-3 weeks. But I'm already on
the Beyond Tangy, and but I'm not doing, because I couldn't hardly afford it yet to do the two healthy start packs.
All right, so the next thing that I would add, so you're taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the next thing that I would add is something called Cal Toddy. Cal Toddy. Get 1 bottle of Cal Toddy. That's a liquid calcium supplement. Now, in a perfect world, Bob, I'd have you take 2 Cal Toddies a month. But if you can only afford 1, that's all right. Just get 1. And take 1 ounce in a little bit of orange juice immediately before bed. 1 ounce in a little bit of orange juice immediately before bed. And when you buy orange juice at the grocery store, get calcium fortified orange juice, okay? Get calcium fortified orange juice. And there's one more thing that you can do here on a budget. You're taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You're taking the calcium in the orange juice with calcium fortified orange juice. That's a good program for you to do. You need to stop eating the 10 bad foods. Stop
I'm already
eating.
on that. Yeah.
Are you already doing that?
Gluten-free now. Gluten-free for already a year.
Okay, and you have to stop any. No more soda pop. You drink any soda pop?
I used to drink a lot and none anymore.
All right, good job. Now, the other thing you can do is talk to some.
I have one more question when we're done.
All right. Well, we're up against a hard break here, so hang on, Bob, for 6 minutes. We got a 6-minute segment here. I'll take you again right at the top of the next hour. Thanks for holding on, Bob. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. Stick around. We're going to start the second hour in 7 minutes. Stick around.